Hey, what's going on everyone? Nick here, back with video 2. And this video is going to be something that I think a lot of people really enjoy because in this video we're going to be talking about niche research and product research. And I know that this subject is something that, is like at the heart and center of e-commerce. Well, really any business, right? Your niche, and a lot of people look at this the wrong way. I'm going to start off talking about it this way to get some things clear right from the start. A lot of people go into e-commerce, and believe me, I made this mistake as well. In the early days when I was getting started, they think that the niche is like the secret sauce, right? Everybody thinks, man, if I could just find a winning niche, if I just knew the hot niche, or if I just knew the hot products, then I would be able to make a killing like everybody else. And to a point, there's some logic behind that because, yes, the niche, that's why people don't share what niches they're in or what they're selling because they want to guard that because they look at it as, their gold mine, right, where the money's coming from, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But the reality is, any niche can be profitable. All right, I want you to get that in your head right away from the start. There's no limit really. Let's not go into this with a scarcity mindset of thinking there's only a certain number of niches out there that are still available for people to start businesses in and make money. The reality is any niche can be profitable. All right, there are people out there still starting stores in the dog niche and still going on to make full-time incomes every single month. All right, remember in the last video we talked about coming from a creative mindset in what you're doing. All right, and that's so important. I can't stress that enough, how important that is to remember and understand when you are building a business of any type, okay? Any niche can be profitable. Every single one of these categories over here breaks down into a niche, and these are all profitable ideas. You could build a business in any single one of these, regardless of the competition right now, and be successful. All right, what it's going to come down to is if you are going to create a good message, if you're going to brand yourself correctly. There's a couple different ways in e-commerce to really get started, all right? And my opinion is that you want to start with a general store, okay? So you're not just going to pick one of these niches and say, I'm just going to sell backpacks. All right, you could, but my opinion is that that's difficult. You should either be starting a general store or a niche general store like we talked about in the last video, okay? You can reference the end of the last video if you want to see more on that or if you missed it. And that's going to allow you to test multiple ideas in multiple niches and find what works for you and what is profitable. All right, and really the goal here in the beginning is that I look at it like this. I want people to get their first six-figure store in sales, okay? Because we're going to go through this system, and if you're operating the way that I'm operating and you're able to build a store to six figures in sales, you're going to be at about a 40% profit margin, and so you're going to put, like $40,000 in the bank, okay, give or take, that's going to give you the leverage, all right? Just, if you think about that, okay? If you think about the goal here of doing that, of doing six figures in sales, which I did in my first 90 days, okay? And you can do that too. And even if you don't, even if it takes 6 months, that's still awesome, all right? Because if you think about making a full-time salary, $40,000 in cash in the bank in that amount of time, you're going to be able not only to quit your full-time job, or if you don't quit, take a less stressful job on the side, but you're going to have the leverage and the ability to sit back and think about what you want to do. All right, really in the beginning here, when we're doing the niche and the product research, it's not about coming up with the $1 million idea, in my opinion. All right, you're going to see a lot of people out there that are trying to teach this in a way of saying, you need to sit down and find out what you're really passionate about, and then decide how you can build a business around your passion, and you can scale this into your big $1 million idea business or whatever they say. And yeah, to a point that can work, but here's what we're really trying to do. Number one, you need to understand that what you like is not necessarily what's going to sell. All right, I know I mentioned in the last video, start looking at some categories you like and pick this and that. But what I mean by that is not start looking at, the things that you're passionate about and that you think would be a good idea. What I meant is start looking at some categories that you think could be winning categories, all right? Categories that you like and think this looks like a winning category and I'd be interested in testing this out. Because what it's going to come down to in e-commerce is what the market says. And what the market says is not always what you think. You believe me, I've tried so many different things, and some items I thought were going to be amazing because I thought they were super cool, didn't sell at all. And some items I've seen out there that I think are absolutely stupid are making a killing for people. Okay, so it's always going to be about what the market says. Your opinion really does not matter in e-commerce. To be just completely blunt with you from the start, your opinion is not going to matter much. It's going to matter what the market's opinion is, and the mindset you need to get in from the very beginning is that you're going to be testing a lot of different things, all right? Any niche can be a winning niche. Any single one of these niches has an audience attached to it that is interested in buying stuff, all right? But there's some things you want to keep in mind. For example, in the computer and office niche, all right, you could go into this and try to sell things like laptop bags and case, or that's not a good example. Let's say over here, like flash drives, memory cards, hard drives. You're going to see that these are all, if you go on Amazon or you look on AliExpress, these are always going to be best-selling items. You're going to see flash drives selling a ton. You're going to see memory cards. You're going to see USB chargers, and they're going to be having high amounts of orders. Now, does that mean that you're going to start a store and sell those items? Probably not, okay, because it's a very general item. It's something that, yes, people are buying a lot of it. Yes, it's a niche that's making a lot of sales, but that's such a general item that the competition is going to be about who's offering the lowest price. It's hard to get creative in a USB flash drive unless you find something really cool. Don't get me wrong, there are some flash drives out there that are really unique and different, and that's the angle you would want to take. But to just sell a regular 8 gig hard drive or a regular 16 gig memory card or just regular phone chargers or something, people aren't going to buy that, especially through Facebook, because they can go to Walmart and get that. They can go on Amazon and get that for half the price, right? We're looking for unique items that we can mark up and resell online. And so when we're looking at niches and we're looking at ideas, we want to specifically have that mindset of, number one, that any niche can be a winner. You just got to identify the audience that's going to sell, and you want to be unique and be creative in what you're finding, all right? Watches, you see this on the side here. This is a really good idea if you find like a creative outlet for watches. Some people did really well when the wooden watches and the wooden sunglasses came out because that was unique, all right? They weren't trying to sell Ray-Bans because something like that, people are going to go buy Ray-Bans where they know and trust the store. Something like electronics, all right? This is so difficult to get into because the mindset behind it is going to be, when it comes to electronics, people already have their given places that they're looking for electronics, like for digital cameras and such. Now, you could build a store that sells that, but that's like the really long path to take of building a brand like that that's going to sell electronics, because you need to get some trust built and you need to start building a brand and get some credibility. You're going to need to be really cutthroat on your prices. So I'm trying to give you the different perspectives here and let you know that we need to push towards the stuff that's going to be unique. It's going to be items that are not things people already have a method of buying, if that makes sense. All right, like when it comes to earphones and headphones, nowadays this is a hard item to sell unless, again, you have like a really unique and specific way that you can sell them, because you can get headphones anywhere, for like $6. I can get headphones at Walmart for $5. I can get them in line at Marshalls or TJ Maxx for a couple bucks, and they're nice, cool headphones, right? And they come packaged very well, and I don't have to wait 2 weeks for shipping. You know what I'm saying? So those are the types of ideas you want to keep in mind when you're doing niche research. And a lot of people make that mistake when they get started, is they think, well, I'm just going to go find, popular items, and that's really leaving out a lot when you do that, because a lot of popular items you're going to see will be the small items that people order a lot of that are very general items, but we're selling through social media. Okay, remember, now there are other ways to build a store, but the way that we're getting started, the way that I'm going to be teaching you, the way that I really want to help people is to build a store from $0 to $100,000 in sales as quickly as possible. All right. And in order to do that, we want to focus on those unique passion products, those niches that have unique items and really passionate audiences. And remember that any niche can be profitable, but it's all about the way that you are finding the products in that niche, the way that you're matching it up to the audience. All right. So in that regard, just remember, there's no real secret. There's no list of, gold mine niches, and these are the only niches that work. Okay, you can go into electronics and do well. It's just you need to be careful about the items you're picking. All right, if you're going to pick earphones and headphones, then it needs to be something really creative and something people haven't seen before, that's going to do well and be something that they'd say, wow, this is really cool. I want this. That's the idea that we always want to have when we're looking at niches and products. We want to find the stuff that people just want, that they love, that they see it and they're like, I need that, because it's not something they see every day. It's not something they can just go down to Walmart and get where it would be easier and cheaper. It's not something like electronics that they're going to go do their product research on and say, well, I think, if you think about laptops, for example, people, if they're buying a laptop, are generally going to go look at 5 different sites and compare prices and, make sure they see good reviews and different things like that. That's going to be the way that the mindset is in electronics. All right. That's an industry that's very cutthroat and very hard to break into because of that, because of the way that people have been conditioned to shop for electronics. And, so many things can go wrong anyway. I would actually advise staying away from electronics because there's so many potential problems with things not working or breaking and returns and refunds. But as opposed to, say, a t-shirt, right? A t-shirt is something where it's like you get what you see. There's no chance of it not working. They don't need to read reviews. They don't need to go find, other people trying to sell it, because if you offer something unique that's a t-shirt that they want, then, it's like, okay, I know what I'm getting here. And it becomes an impulse buy. They don't have to research it. They don't have to dig deeper and compare, all the different sites out there that they think might be selling the same thing. And it's the same thing with any type of product. For example, yesterday we looked at scarves, I think, which I can't find it. Where was it? It was in women's clothing. I don't know. It was in here somewhere. I forget. But the idea is, I mean, you get it. The idea was that if you look at scarves and you're selling a unique type of scarf, then there's no, you're getting what you see right there. And there's really no risk involved in somebody ordering that. So if they see it and they like the print and they like the color, then they're going to purchase it based on that impulse buy. All right. So those are some early pointers that I just wanted to put out there in remembering and getting your mind adjusted to what we're really looking for when we're getting involved in e-commerce and the types of niches and the types of products that we want to go after. And remembering that, you do want to find the trends and you do want to find the hot items, but don't come from a saturated mindset, from a scarcity mindset of thinking, well, I'm going to avoid this niche because there's already people selling stuff in this niche. Now, that's a good thing. That means there's a lot of opportunity in that niche because people are spending money. And if you can come in with a creative idea or something that they haven't seen before, then you're going to be able to make a splash and make a lot of sales. And that's true for almost any niche in which you can find those types of items. All right. The main ones you're probably going to want to stay away from are electronics and anything in the adult industry, honestly, because number one, we can only advertise things. Remember that we're selling things on Facebook. So anything in the adult industry, you're not going to be able to sell on Facebook. Anything in the weapons industry, you're not going to be able to sell on Facebook. And anything in the electronics industry is going to be very difficult and have a lot of potential problems to sell just because of the mindset that people have when they're buying electronics. All right. So those are some early tips about thinking thinking about niches and thinking about products and all that kind of stuff. And so now, I have AliExpress open here because, again, like I mentioned, you can see in here all these categories. All right, every single one of these categories is a great place to start in getting ideas and looking at the different types of things that you can sell. All right, whether you decide to just drop ship these items or try to, you want to try to personally brand them yourself. I mean, those are all viable things, but we're doing a general store so that we can test different niches and we can find the stuff that are hot items and trending items and we can sell them. All right, and I'm going to show you some examples of stores and I'm going to show you a lot of examples here as we go through it. But it's really important for me to put this concept. I hope you're taking notes if this is new to you, or even if it's not new to you, this might be kind of shifting your perspective a little bit and helping you understand why so many people are struggling. And it really starts right here because they just don't. We get into e-commerce, and again, like I mentioned in the prior video, we have a specific way we're used to learning where we think, okay, show me the formula so I can memorize it, and then I can just do it again and get an A on the test, right? And it's not like that. This is a very creative extrapolation where you need to take the concepts and the ideas and start thinking on your own about how you can apply this and how you can start getting into any niche and finding those unique items that you think are going to be good to sell. And, well, how do you know? Well, there's some indicators that you can look at that we're going to talk about for seeing what types of stuff might be good to sell. But at the same time, like I said, it's always going to come down to testing. The market is what's going to speak. And if you're not willing to test, if you're not willing to have an ads budget and test some things and get data back and then understand and interpret that data, which I'm going to teach you how to do, and then use that to make future decisions and predictions, then this is not the business for you, all right? Because that's what e-commerce is all about. It's about finding niches and ideas, testing them, and then remembering the 80-20 rule. I'm not the first to say this, but I'm going to mention it because it's so true in any business, and especially e-commerce, that 80% of the stuff that you test will probably fail, all right? And 20% of the stuff that you test will become winners and great items that will sell a lot and make up all of your money and your profit. And that's been absolutely true in my own business and what I've been doing. Tested a lot of stuff that has failed and gone nowhere. A lot of things that have got maybe 1 or 2 sales but weren't really profitable. And then even a lot of things that got more than a couple sales and were profitable but not something you could scale up to a higher level. Like a lot of the t-shirts I've sold, I did quite a few t-shirts, but nothing, most of them weren't anything that really scaled into like the tens of thousands of dollars type item. But there are a few items that I've sold that have scaled to that. I think one of my best selling items has done like $25,000, right? So that's the type of idea there that when you find those items, you're going to be able to scale them and just realize that there is a huge, huge audience out there of people that you can scale into when you find the right audiences and products for those audiences, okay? So I want to go over a few things here as we get started. Guidelines for choosing an ideal niche. Before we even get into any practical examples, this is all really important stuff to get into. Even for some people who may have been in e-commerce and have already bought coaching courses, a lot of times people are not teaching this kind of stuff. And this is important for any online business, but especially in e-commerce where it's a very front-end direct sales type deal, what we're doing, and being based off of social media, it's really these guidelines here. I'm going to share this notepad or you can copy it down right now, pause the video and write it down. But this is all stuff that is good to know. You want to make sure it's large enough in number for consistent income. All right, that's point number 1. So, for example, I showed you in the last video the steampunk niche. The steampunk niche was something I was just testing, but I quickly lost interest in it because it's not large enough for consistent income. The niche is very small, and how we're judging our niche size really right now in the beginning is the type of audience that's on Facebook. So some of this is going to be, 2-part here because I don't have, this video would be way too long if I tried to combine Facebook audiences with this video. So we're going to go into Facebook audiences at another time, but just be aware that when you get into Facebook and you get into targeting, you're going to be able to look at the size of a niche and see how it's really. Let's write this out and give you an example. So I have in here at least 500K to a million total size audience, right? And that's just a general rule of thumb. You probably want it to range more on the million size. This is a good size audience to make some money. I'm going to edit this actually. All right, so you want an audience that's at least a few million strong if you plan on sticking with that niche for a while. And what you need to understand, if this is all new to you, some of you this is probably, it makes sense already, some of you this might be brand new to, is that you want to all right, so when you're looking at the niches, Facebook is going to break all its users. So, there's like something like, if you look at just the United States, for example, I mean, Facebook has over 1 billion users worldwide, but that doesn't really apply as much right now because we're going to be targeting the United States. So if you look at the United States, there's something like 100 million active users, I think. That could be a little bit low, but I think it's right around there, maybe 100 million to 150 million active users on any given month. So out of that total amount of people, you're going to have groups of audiences. So say out of that 100 million people, people that are interested in the dog niche at the broadest level, just people that are interested in dogs, may be 50 million people. All right, and so that's your audience size overall. Now that'll break down into smaller subsets of an audience based on all of the different pages that are out there and groups that are out there. That might be I love dogs, or I love Yorkshire Terriers, or I love pit bulls, or I love walking my dog is my best friend, right? These are all sub niches of that large audience. And when we get into Facebook targeting, you're going to understand how you use those to target people for the products that you're selling. But when you're looking at the niches, you just want to understand that Facebook breaks all its users in the audiences, and each of those audiences has a size. And that these, you need an audience size of at least this to be hoping to scale an item to a couple $1,000s in sales. And if you want to have consistent recurring business and be able to launch new products and continue scaling into that audience, you really want to find an audience that's at least a few million strong. All right. We'll go over more of that. It's just for now, I want you to understand the numbers of when you're looking at something. Some of it is common sense. All right, we know that women's clothing is going to have an audience that's in the tens of millions of people because it's just obviously a huge evergreen industry. Okay, same thing with men's clothing. Same thing with any of these categories. All right, which is why AliExpress is such a good place to start. Why Overstock.com. That you'll see a lot of those sites break them into these categories. And you really don't need to look at Facebook audiences yet because by common sense that all of these are major categories for a reason, because they have millions and millions of people that are constantly looking for products in these categories, right? Something else for an ideal niche. You want to have lots of products to sell so you won't run out of things to offer your market. All right, that may seem obvious, but you will realize as you start looking at things, there's a difference between going into a niche that has a lot of products or finding a product that you think is a cool one-off item that there's nothing else in that niche to really sell to. So there's not too much that needs to be said about that, except to keep that in mind, because as you're building a store and as you're building a niche, one of the things that allowed me to be very successful with my first store when I found some winning products is that I was able to then go back and create collections of highly related items for that niche. All right. So, I found one item that was selling well and it was based around the niche. And then so I went back and I looked at other items that I thought that niche would be interested in, and I put them in a collection, which allowed me to get, just allowed me to increase my order size because people were interested and would buy them when they went to my site. And then I could also market them as well after, the original product might have just died down, I could take that same exact audience I had and then market new products to. So that's what's important to remember here, is that while you can find one-off products that is just one product and it sells and that's it, you move on, it's really advantageous to you to find niches that you want to be involved in, because that's when you build an asset. You start building an audience, you start building a Facebook page that becomes like a brand that you can continue selling items to those people in the future and continue getting some recurring consistent income. All right, which is why a lot of people get trapped into wanting to start a niche store from the beginning, because they think they're just going to build this huge audience and then have consistent income and be able to sell over and over and over to again. And yeah, that's kind of the point to work up to, but it's a little bit more difficult than it seems. So it's good to start with a general store, test lots of niches, and use the strategy that I show you, where you have a Facebook page for each niche, because then you can always change the store, but your Facebook page becomes the asset, right? I hope you understand that, because that is like a key advantage right there. The Facebook page becomes the asset, and you can redirect your traffic from that page to any store that you want to. All right. Which is why when you're finding items, you want to be thinking about how you can build a specific Facebook fan page for that niche. For example, the EDM one that I built. No matter what store I'm running, if I choose to continue building that EDM page, I'm building an asset around the EDM niche where I can continue to sell products in the future. And that's a great example. The EDM niche is tens of millions of people strong. All right. Large enough in number for consistent income, tens of millions of people strong. I can do consistent business in that it has lots of products to sell. All right, I'm not going to run out of things to offer in that market, because in something like that, it's really just a limit of how creative I can be in coming up with custom merchandise and finding things that, EDM gear and things that relate to that industry. All right, and it's number 3 here we want to look at is a proven buyer's market. All right, you want to market where people are spending money already. In EDM, I know people are spending money already every day. These are some examples: dogs, cats, nurses, fishermen, fashion, jewelry. Pretty much should be obvious that you want a proven buyer's market. But all this is to say is you don't want to go out there and try to reinvent the wheel and find a niche that nobody is purchasing in yet and think, I'm going to be the first one to crack into this niche. That's a really difficult road to go. And a lot of times if nobody's, selling in that niche and making purchases in that niche already, it's for a reason. At this point in 2016, you should not be thinking that you're going to find a niche that nobody else has thought of yet. All right, most of it has been done and been tried. So I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm saying for your first attempt, that's really not where you want to be headed. All right. Big industries like this, a lot of people want to say, well, I should stay away from them because there's a lot of competition. Now, that's a good thing, all right? Competition is a very good thing because it means there's money to be made. And remember, abundance mindset, creative mindset. You can come into that market with a new perspective and offer people something new, and they will absolutely love it, and you'll be able to build an audience very quickly, all right? This point goes back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier, not a one-time sale. You don't want people who buy once and then never again. This is a little subjective because, yes, I don't want to make it sound like, if you find a product that does well by itself, for example, say you find, I'm trying to think of an idea here. I don't even know because I stay away from these types of products. But if you were to find a product that is like, say a couch. This is just obscure. I know you're probably not thinking about selling couches, but if you're selling couches, then or even in our last business with photo booths in the beginning, this was something that was a little bit difficult, and we had to work our way around. Is that if you're selling something that's a big purchase, you run the risk of people never buying it again because they made that purchase and now they're good. Like a couch, for example. If they buy one, they may have that couch for the next 10 years. Same thing with a bed mattress. And that makes it difficult to build a recurring income around those people. With photo booths, we got in the habit of understanding that there are events all year round, so we worked and found ways that we could continue to resell our photo booth services to people for all their different events. But in the beginning, we were only thinking about it as a one-time sale, and our income really started to explode when we started thinking about it as a recurring sale and framing it that way, in not just being for a certain type of event like weddings, but being for any type of event, birthday parties, graduations, and retirement parties, and blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. And we just had to structure our pricing in a way that we knew people would purchase it over and over again. All right, so that's something that is a great, a golden tip when it comes to business. Yes, when you're getting started, by all means, try products, and if it's a one-off product and you can sell a lot of them, then you're making money, and that's great. But as you look to build a business, this is something good to remember, okay? You don't want to narrow yourself into a niche where you're only selling one item, okay? Enough on that. Easily identifiable market on Facebook audiences. All right, this is something where you don't want to pick something obscure, a market that could be really difficult to identify with. Whenever you're looking at a item, okay, like for example, all these items in here you see, all right, you want to find items that are easily identifiable. A lot of people go into jewelry. We'll use this as an example. And, they'll see something like this as an example. It's got 811 orders. It's a gold necklace that's priced cheap at wholesale. And they think, I could sell this for 3 times the price. I'm going to sell this item. But who's the identifiable market for this? Okay? Men. Are you going to go into this and try to sell, you're going to run a Facebook ad to men in the United States that like jewelry? That could be an audience that's tens of millions of people strong. Now, that's a good niche to be involved in, but to try to sell that as a product starting out is just going to be a headache. You're going to spend a lot of money, and chances are your sales are going to be pretty low because it's too broad. It's not an easily identifiable market, all right? Where as opposed to something like this is much more identifiable because you can sell this to Christian men who like jewelry. Now you're getting a little bit more narrowed in on an actual market. You want to always be thinking about your audience when you're looking at the products and the niches that you want to be involved in. Who is the easily identifiable market for this? Can I define it in a few words of my ideal customer? All right, because Facebook breaks it down. Again, we're going to get into the Facebook side of targeting where you can go in and really break it down. But in order to do that and make your job easier when it comes to targeting, you need to have a product that makes sense and is easily identifiable. Something very general like this, okay, maybe it's a cool item, it's got a lot of orders, but what are you going to do? You're going to target women who like necklaces in the United States? That's not easily identifiable, all right? It's way too broad, and you want to look for things that are more specific, especially when starting out, right? Something like this is much more identifiable. This would be women who like jewelry and fashion and also like cats. All right, it's still going to be a big market, but it's much more identifiable because you found a way to narrow in. You found a specific type of niche here when it comes to cats, and you crossed it with a big interest like jewelry. All right, something like this, this is going to be men who like jewelry and fashion and also like poker, or like gambling. That's much more identifiable than just trying to sell something like this. So I hope that makes sense. That's something a lot of people miss. They miss it all, and they go into this and they find items based on what they think looks like it could be cool and has some orders, and they don't realize that when it gets down to actually trying to sell it, the reason they're failing is because they don't have an easily identifiable market. They're way too scattered across the market. And what you need to understand is that as you're getting started in the beginning, you need to be specific, all right, in making your sales. And we're going to talk about this a lot more in depth when it comes to targeting and, building your Facebook pixel and running different kinds of ads and objectives and building a store. But from the beginning, you need to understand with a general store that you want to be able to target in on specific niches and audiences to sell the items that you have. So you always want to have that in your mind. Is the market easily identifiable? Okay. And remember that primarily what we're doing is selling on Facebook audiences. So when we get to it, I'm going to show you a method of how you can check to make sure, what you have in your mind of thinking about an audience is going to be identifiable on Facebook. All right. But again, it's really a two-part concept here. You want it to be a passionate group of people. This goes back to what we were talking about a little bit before. And again, a very, very important point where, I was talking about no matter what, if you go into, let's just go home for a second and I'll show you exactly what I mean. If you go in the best selling here, chances are one of the best selling items you'll see, like here you go right here, is a USB data charger. All right, it's had a ton of orders, 86,000 orders, but this is not a passionate product type item. People are probably ordering this. Now, I'm not going to say that there's not somebody drop shipping this out there that could be a major company that already has a big fan base. That's different. That's why I say in the beginning here when you're getting started, if you build a store and you've got a fan base that's several 100,000 people strong, then you can try to promote an offer like this, and just based on having an audience and this being a little bit different with the rose gold and offering a really good deal on it or a really good promotional strategy, you may be able to sell a lot of these. But when you're getting started, picking a product like this is just going to be a nightmare for you because it's very general. This isn't something people get passionate about. Sure, they need it, and sure, people are going to buy it, but a lot of these orders are probably simply from people coming to this website and searching out this item because they know they can get it cheap. All right, this is not something that I would recommend as an item that you're going to see like people getting passionate about and trying to sell. Same thing with this here, this USB port for your car. Yeah, does it have a lot of orders? Is it a very handy item? Yeah, absolutely, but it's not a passion product. This is going to be difficult in the beginning. It's going to be an uphill battle trying to sell something like this. And chances are, unless you have a really clever promotional strategy, you're not going to do very well with it. Something like this, however, is a passion product that has probably sold a lot because it says NYPD right on the front of it. Yeah, well, it's got 11,000 orders. This is something that is a lot different. People that have a strong, connection or affiliation with something like the NYPD are probably going to love this type of thing. People that like this type of faded style, this is much more of what a passion product is because it has something on there that people are going to identify with. All right. Same thing with the steampunk glasses. Look, you can see them right here. Actually, these are the items I was selling. This is something, as you saw when people saw this in their newsfeed, they loved it. When I was hitting the right audience with this, this spoke to them. This spoke to the type of style that they represent themselves with, how they identify themselves. And so people loved that. All right. And that's a passion product. That's what you want to remember when it comes to those types of things. Is you're looking for the stuff that people identify with and say, that's so me, I need that. All right. Now there's stuff that can be used like these, these bags, multifunction bags that you can sell, and people can be passionate about this too in a different type of way because it helps their life. All right. There's definitely something still to be said for niches and products that solve a problem. All right. That's a different type of passion because people always want problems to be solved for them. So if you can find something that's very unique and is going to help improve their life, make their life more convenient in something like this, for example, people that travel and work, that's something that hits home for them because it's part of their everyday life. So it's a different type of passion per se because it's not something that they get maybe excited about where it's like, oh, this is, excited about in the sense of you get excited about your favorite movie or your favorite hobby, but they get excited about it because it's going to improve their quality of life. All right, so it's a different type of passion, but it can be very, very profitable as well when you find items like this and you know how to market them correctly. All right, same thing with a wallet like that. All right, moving on. I could talk about that for a while, but I think I've hit that enough. Another reason that you want stuff to be passion based is because people will share it and tag your ads. So like those steampunk glasses you saw, people were tagging other people because it connected them around a common interest. All right, something that they were passionate about. You get that viral capability because people are going to share and tag your stuff, and that's when you can start getting a lot of sales and brings your cost of purchase down because people become brand ambassadors for you. They become people that are sharing and tagging your stuff, which is free advertising for you, right? And so that's what you really want to find, is that passionate group of people in the niches that are going to share and tag your stuff when you're thinking about items that you're looking at and niches that you're looking at. All right. Some other tips here. Number 8 kind of goes with number 6, so I'll talk about that next. People who are proud, like hunters, sports, dog lovers, cat lovers, patriots, parents. I think this, I'm not going to hit this too hard because it goes right along with passionate. This is really good to find. It doesn't necessarily have to be present in every niche. For example, like backpacks, but if you can find this in your niche, then this is just all. This is really, we're going to talk about this a lot when we get to custom merchandise and t-shirts, because that's what sells like the best when it comes to shirts and custom merchandise, is people who are proud and passionate about what they do or what they are or what they believe in. They want to wear that. They want to represent that. They want items and gear that shows that because they're proud of it. Like a patriot, for example, or a parent, you see those bumper stickers that say proud parent of an honor roll student, or you see these Second Amendment shirts, people who want to be proud of the right to bear arms, or these shirts about being a veteran, or shirts about I have a cat, or these types of things, being shirts around a certain sport. You get it, you've seen them, and you just want to identify with that and understand the psychology behind that and why it works, because people love to buy what they, what represents them, what they're proud of. You see these nursing shirts out there. Nurses are proud to be a nurse because they work hard and they do a lot and they save lives. So, nurses are very proud of that. And if you find items that speak to that pride and that passion, then you can make a lot of money. The nursing niche is huge. Obviously, there's a lot of competition there as well. But again, there's a lot of money to be made there if you can really tap into something unique and creative with that niche, okay? Quick producing market, like shirts, jewelry, drop shipping. This is stuff in the beginning. Again, this is really a tip for getting started, all right? There's something to be said about building a brand and sustainable and long term, and that's absolutely true. But, my guess is you coming to this, you're looking to get jumped off quickly, and that's what I want for people, to be able to build that first $100,000 store, because regardless of what you hear anybody else out there saying, you can build a $100,000 store, fulfill all your orders, make all your people happy, and then branch off into a new store. I've done it already. It works. And then you have the leverage and the ability to sit back and do it even better the next time and have more of an ads budget and look at things in a little bit more detail. So in the beginning, you're really looking for these quick producing markets that can be sold very quickly. Shirts and jewelry, drop shipping. That's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about. And that's why I have that in here. Okay. And then number 9, the last thing, expandable niche. This is something that you can advertise in different forms. So not just on Facebook, but you could also put it on Amazon. Like if you design, I'll show you in a video where for custom merchandise, some people are designing like coffee mugs and stuff, and you can put those on Amazon, and that just becomes another way of bringing in revenue if you want to do that. You can drop ship on Amazon. You can drop ship on eBay. You can find, you can drop ship on Pinterest, on Instagram. Like you can advertise your items all over. You can do it on Google. Some places are a little bit harder to do than Facebook, but this is something that really pertains when you start getting into a sustainable store and a brand. You want to look for the types of niches that that you can expand. For example, this is going to apply to all the big ones, right? Like if we come back here to AliExpress and we look at the categories, every major one of these categories, you could find items and sell on any form. Facebook, Google AdWords, Pinterest, you can do that kind of stuff everywhere. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're looking at niches and products, okay? Now, other than AliExpress, all right, some other places that you can find ideas. We already talked about Overstock.com. Because again, you're looking at the major categories and breaking it down and looking at the items that they have in each category to get ideas. All right. This is the idea phase. You want to be writing down ideas and putting them down and just getting as many ideas on paper as you can. You can go to Amazon. All right. And we talked about this in the last video briefly. You can look at all of their categories here. And one thing you can do with Amazon as well is you can type in here best selling, right? Best selling in all departments, not books, just best selling. And this will show you best selling items. And you can try to find these items on different places, and this can give you ideas, and you can just go through, you can just find best selling in any one of these categories, or you can just look at best selling overall and see the kind of stuff that's trending right now, right? This kind of stuff that's trending. This is really cool if you can find something like this. I've never seen this before. I don't even know what it is, but this is a cool idea. So this will give you ideas of things that you can sell. Now this is like a one-off product, right? You could go into the travel niche, and the travel niche is huge. You can sell a lot of things in the travel niche, but this doesn't really have as many directly related items. But a way Amazon really helps as well is you can always click on an item and then see what people buy together. So this is smart, right? People who are buying this probably might be traveling abroad and want like these Ninja travel adapters, right? And you can see customers also bought these items. So Amazon will really help you for building your collections and getting a lot of ideas, okay? You can look at Google Trends. Google Trends is something that just shows you what people are searching for on Google, and you can explore trending topics, all right, and just see, you can see the categories they have and just see the kind of stuff that may be trending in the United States. Now, you're going to have to dig deep because I came to entertainment and it's showing me people that are trending. So, but you can really, Google Trends, top charts. You can type in ideas, or you can look at top charts of all the different categories. So like the sports don't matter as much, but dog breeds. So this could be a good idea. You can see the most popular dog breeds, so you could try to find products that sell to them. Fashion brands, you could try to mimic what some of the best selling fashion items are for these brands that are doing well. And you get it. You can see from here. It's just another place to get ideas, and you can go through, and they have all kinds of categories that break down, and you can continue looking and looking and looking, and you can type in your own categories. You can type in search terms. You can look at different categories up here, and just see the different type of stuff and get ideas of things that are popular and being searched on Google over whatever span of time that you want. So it's just another way that you can get ideas. And then when you're doing all that, Pinterest is another place. I'm just going to show you a couple of different places that you can get ideas, so you can choose what works for you. But Pinterest is a great place that you can come and look for ideas in certain niches and categories. They have all these categories that you can look at. Like say you wanted to come to tattoos and see what kind of stuff is popular in tattoos, because this could be, you could branch into the tattoo niche with, I don't know, shirts maybe that have these types of designs on them or something. Waynello is a really good one. If you're familiar with this site, Want, Need, Love, because you can see just trending items on here. I think you might need to sign in. So I can go to trending and just see the overall best trending items, right? Like this 3D unicorn cup, and you want to look for like stuff that has a lot of saves, right? 10,000 saves is huge. These things are popular. If you can find these boho design, canvases here, you could make a killing. I've looked, I haven't really been able to find a place to source these from, but I know of a company that does sell these, and they do very well. So that's the type of ideas you can find by looking at stuff like this. All right. And I guess the last one that I'll show you, watch count. This is a site that looks at like eBay's most trending items, and you have to actually search this one really to make it work. I mean, you want to type in keywords for a niche that you may be interested in, like camping, and then show me what's most popular in the US. And it'll bring up the most popular items on eBay, right? And not all of it's going to apply. Like you can see this is not something you're going to sell online. I mean, you could try, but, knives are not going to apply. Something like this may work. Now, a lot of people have tried to sell this, so, something like this may work. But again, you have to dig. I personally don't use watch count. I just know that some people do as a way to find stuff that's trending on eBay to give you ideas for things that might work and might sell. It can be useful. I know some people that do use watch count, but for me personally, I don't really use it. I have my best. AliExpress is really where I use most of the time. Pinterest and Waynello I'll look at sometimes. These are a great place to get ideas. Pinterest is more of a great place to get ideas for like t-shirts and stuff. Waynello is a great place to just scroll through every now and then and see if there's any really popular trending items that could be cool that you could find by seeing the stuff that has the most saves, But AliExpress is really, you can come here and you can just look at trending styles, all right, and see the stuff that's trending right now. And you can get so many ideas coming through here. And what's nice about this is not only are you getting the ideas, but you're seeing them at the same time of products that you can just turn around and sell. So like you could come here, and if this looks like something that's trending and is cool and you can think of a market for this, and then you know that you can sell it right away. Now we're going to go a little bit more into finding good products in another video, because there's some things you want to look at specifically in AliExpress to determine whether a product's going to fit your business model. Like you want to make sure mostly that it has good reviews, that the vendor has good reviews. You want to look at the feedback and make sure it's got good feedback. If people put pictures in there and show it, then that's awesome, because you can see that it actually is what it's advertised as. And you want to look at the shipping, of course, and make sure it has e-packet shipping available to the United States, right? But AliExpress is a great place to get ideas, because you can just come here and look. With these other places, like if you see the J travel pillow, you're going to have to then come to AliExpress and see if you can source this product from here, right? Oh, why did that not copy? So you want to come here, and then you'll have to see if it sells on AliExpress and if you can source it from here. So it doesn't look like they have the exact item, which is what you may run into sometimes. But you may see some other cool ideas as you do it, like going through. So that's kind of, I source most of my stuff from AliExpress. Now I'm going to share with you a resource of where you can find other wholesale and drop shipping companies. There's many of them out there, and you're just going to have to decide where, what works for you, because a lot of these American companies are going to be more expensive, and your profit margins aren't going to be as good. But there are a lot of them out there. The only thing you want to make sure you stay away from when it comes to drop shipping is any companies that are going to charge you like a monthly fee to drop ship. That's generally a scam, because you don't need to have a membership to drop ship somewhere. So companies like that say, you need to sign up and pay us X amount of dollars a month to view our catalog, just stay away from that kind of stuff, because you're just going to end up wasting your money. There's plenty of free sites out there to drop ship from. All right. So getting back into this, like Amazon, for example, you can't really drop ship from Amazon. Now, if you're watching this and you know a way to drop ship from Amazon, then please share. But for the most part, what I've heard, Amazon is going to stop you once they see you ordering the same item over and over and over again and sending it to different addresses. Like, they're not dumb. They understand what's going on. I think if you buy with gift cards, you may be able to do that, but then you're just creating a headache for yourself, because you have to constantly be getting yourself Amazon gift cards and then using the gift cards, and just, they might catch on to that eventually too. So I don't know that Amazon is a great place to source products, but you can get ideas from there and then look on here to see if you can find the products on AliExpress, right? Same thing with Winello. Probably not where you're going to source it. I mean, you can click on any one of these and it'll be for sale from whoever's selling it, but your chances are you're not getting a wholesale price here. You're getting a retail price. Now you could always go to the store and reach out to them just like with Etsy and see if they're willing to work something out with you and if they can fulfill the items. But it's not what I personally used Winello for. I just use it for research. Same thing with Watch Count. I use it for research, and then I'll come here to AliExpress and see if I can find the item. But another way besides looking at trending styles is go to best selling. You can look here and it's going to show you top selling products. It's also going to give you top selling categories. It really doesn't need to be more difficult, guys. Remember, the first thing I said is that any niche can be profitable. So you just need to decide what categories you think look like really good categories, fit some of the criteria that we talked about, and then going in here and finding some of these items, because you can break it down into these categories and AliExpress is going to give it to you on a platter what the best selling stuff is. All right, so it's just a matter of coming in here and looking at those categories. Like if you're in an outdoor recreation item store, here's just a ton of stuff that you can do and sell. And some of it may not sell, but some of it's good to put on your store anyway, just so that you have a store that looks a little bit more established and built up. You want to remember, and we'll get into this when we talk about building your store and adding products, that you want to have more products on there than just what you're promoting, because you want to make your store look established, right? You want to look like you had some stuff that's available, and generally I recommend probably having at least 15 products on your store when you get started, just so it looks like you didn't start yesterday. All right. So that's kind of going through that. I can look at some of these items already and see items that I've sold in the past. This made a lot of money for some people. Just by coming here and looking at that, you can find that item. I sold a bunch of these. I know other people have sold a bunch of these, just, by coming here and finding the best selling items. So, there's a lot of stuff that you can do that AliExpress just serves right up to you on a platter just by coming here, looking at their weekly best selling. You can come here and click and look at the hot products, right? And again, it's going to break it down into categories for you, and you can look in the categories and see all kinds of ideas. I mean, it really doesn't have to be difficult. You just need to get into the mindset of testing. Most people get so hung up on the idea if they want to think of the $1 million niche before they get started. And believe me, I've been there too. But you just got to get into the idea of testing and testing. Those are the people that win in this game. The people that take action and test and come here and they just don't overcomplicate the process. All right. AliExpress is showing you stuff. Here's some AliExpress collections is another great thing. It's going to give you niche collections that you can look at. Gold Rush, Modern Hippie, Cup of Tea. These are all collections that you could just straight up copy and put on your store. And as a matter of fact, when I build a community store, you're going to see me do this, because you can do this, for example, and people that like space and outer space and that whole niche would probably be interested in this kind of stuff, right? You have to realize that any niche can probably be a winner. Now, does it mean it's going to be a grand slam, $50,000 winner? No, not necessarily, but this is all a progression. It's all a progression. It's about testing stuff and continuing to move forward, and eventually you're going to hit those big winners. You're going to get better at spotting trends and being able to continue to build your stores out. All right, and all of these collections are ideas that not every one of them may be a great idea, but there's a lot of great ideas in here, and you can just open something up and basically copy the entire collection and put these products on your store. Flamingos, for example. Now, flamingos may not be a huge audience, but I know that there are people out there that like flamingos. You could create a flamingo collection, and look at this. You have every single one of these items applies, and you have 20, 15, 20 items here that you could put on your store and start marketing to flamingo collections. All right. That is very viable and valid. All right. Not every one of these products may be a winner, but I guarantee throughout these products here, you could make a few $1,000s by selling this type of stuff, and none of it's trademarked, and it's all really cool and unique. Okay. So I hope you see how simple that can be to find stuff. All right. Don't overcomplicate the process. Okay. And understand that you are going to need to test a lot if you want to do well and make a lot of money in the e-commerce game. Okay. In closing with this, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in another video when it comes to building your store and adding products, because this is an ongoing subject. We're going to talk a little bit more about this when we talk about Facebook audiences and targeting. But I think, honestly, I hope you really enjoyed this video. For anybody that's new or anybody that's been struggling, I think that this video drops some bombs in here that's really going to help put some clarity into how you can be successful with this business. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about is trademarked items. All right. This is something that is a huge area of controversy in the e-commerce world right now, whether you're involved in that world or not. You're going to see a lot of people out there that think they're better than everybody else and try to preach like a fire and brimstone type of attitude when it comes to trademarked items. And look, here's the deal. I'm not a trademark attorney. Trademark infringement is something that you want to be aware of. It is something that is protected by laws in America. And you're going to find on AliExpress a lot of stuff that is based off of other brands. For example, if I come in here and I type in Pokemon. Why does my keyboard keep going? Pokemon. All right. You're going to see all this Pokemon stuff, right? And if we sort it by orders, which is usually what I do, which I'll give you some more on product research when we get into adding products. But you're going to see this stuff, like these bracelets, for example. These little action figures, you can see they got a lot of orders. These little Pokemon balls. Pokemon right now is a very popular thing with the new Pokemon Go app that's been launched, and it's always been popular. It's a huge thing. There's a lot of people out there selling Pokemon stuff, making money, and the thing is with this is that it's trademarked, right? Is that there is a brand called Pokemon, and without a license, you're really not supposed to sell this stuff. So here's the way that I look at trademark stuff. I'm just going to give my personal opinion on it because I know people want to hear it when they look at stuff like this for information and advice. You need to make the decision that's best for you. All right. I would not advise directly knocking off products that are already for sale by any brand like here in America. For example, these little action figures, these little balls here. I mean, these are things that I don't know much about the Pokemon industry, but I'm sure that this stuff is like for sale in America. Pokemon cards, like that's not stuff that I would build a store around. Okay. Now, here's an example though of something that I have sold and that I don't really see anything wrong with. All right, these Pikachu coffee cups. Now, this is something that's still based off the Pokemon brand, but this is a unique item. And even though, it's in the likeness of Pokemon and Pikachu, this is a unique item that's not for sale anywhere else. I'm not knocking off a direct item that Pokemon already manufactures. This is just something that a manufacturer came up with out there that I think is pretty creative and unique. And I sold a few of these. I'm not actively promoting them anymore. But, I don't really see a problem with this. Now, yes, there is the idea that, Pokemon could find me and say, please stop selling these mugs. That's infringing on our Pokemon trademark. And then, yeah, I would stop selling them. The risk that you run is getting a cease and desist letter. Okay, you're going to see all kinds of people out there talking about, you're going to get sued and this and that. And is it possible to get sued? Yes. But more than likely what happens is you get a cease and desist letter first and you just need to stop selling the item. Because really, the people that get in trouble are the ones that are manufacturing it. Now, these guys are all based in China, so it's very hard for any brand to really say anything to them. But, we're not manufacturing, we're online resellers, and it's kind of a gray area. So am I recommending you directly knock off products? No, absolutely not. I don't think that you should. Stuff like selling a jersey, for example. I would never, I'm not going to sell jerseys because that's something that is directly being sold and just straight knocking off an item that somebody else is already producing. So you're stealing from their market. But if you are selling something that's unique, like not already sold somewhere, you're not stealing from their market because it doesn't exist already. You're creating a new market. That's the way I look at it. I know there are going to be people out there that are like, oh man, that's, you're just splitting hairs and that's wrong. And listen, to each his own. I really don't care. You don't have to be in this group. You can have your own opinion and do whatever you want. I built brands. I built $1 million brand from scratch without using anything other than my own ideas and creativity. And I'm doing it again. So I've sold both. Yes, I've sold items like this because there are some items that I think are cool and, I look at them as unique and I want to sell them. But at the same time, I have built a brand, and that is the goal. Where we want to get to is we're learning the skill set of building sustainable brands. So when I look at items like this, if you sell something like this, just think of it as short term and just think of it as something that, you're selling and realize that you may have to stop selling. And then eventually the goal is to build a brand and build something of your own that's sustainable, because it's not sustainable, obviously, to sell, items like this. Now, there is a route you can go to get a license for items and sell things like that. Like, I don't know, for example, if ThinkGeek has a license for what they sell. I really don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But they're selling all this stuff in here is trademarked items, but they're selling unique items. They're selling different types of things here. Like there was one item that I saw. I'm going to give you another example. It was a Jedi robe. I didn't sell many of these because they were expensive, but I did sell a couple. And again, is it based off of the Star Wars idea? Yes, it is based off of the Star Wars idea and the Star Wars brand. But is it a unique item that somebody's just making and, I'm not directly knocking off an item? Yeah, it's something that's not in existence anywhere else, and it's just a cool cosplay item. So, I put it on my store and sold a couple of them, all right? And it was just a short-term thing. So that's my own personal opinion on it, all right? Of course, you need to make your own personal decision, and the entire basis of this group and the way that I teach this stuff is that I'm not going to try to push my opinions on anybody like some of these other self-proclaimed e-commerce messiahs out there that think they're, better than everybody else. You don't need to do it, and you can find items to sell that aren't based on another person's brand. But at the same time, there are a lot of unique items out there that are just cool items that, the way I look at it is like, why not really? Like I saw this Harry Potter color changing mug. This is another example of something. This is not something that the Harry Potter brand is making, all right? This is just something that's kind of cool. And is it based off the Harry Potter brand? Yeah, but is it like a direct ripoff of something they're doing? No, all right? And again, that's the way that I look at it. That's my opinion on it, but you form your own opinion, to each his own. This is just meant to give you the complete overlook and understand that you can do your own research on this and look up trademark laws and different things like that. And that, you can get a cease and desist letter for selling stuff that is based off of somebody else's brand. And that the goal in the beginning here is just to get ourselves to a position and be learning the game and understanding marketing so that we can get to a better level and we can continue to do better, and that we can eventually build that sustainable business and that sustainable brand. So you do want to watch as well, though, that the reason that I'm telling you not to directly rip off items is because Facebook terms of service is not going to let you do that. Shopify is not really going to let you do that either. I've seen people that have tried to just, like, for example, directly, sell something like Jordan shoes. You can find Jordan shoes on AliExpress. You know what I mean? If look here, Jordan shoes. all kinds of Jordan stuff, right? Because these manufacturers are able to completely duplicate these, okay? This is not a good idea. You know, it's just something that they're going to catch on so quickly. Jordan, this is a direct knockoff of an item. You know, you can't do that. Shopify is going to shut you down. Facebook is going to shut you down. And it's just not going to work, all right? So in my opinion, there's a very clear line when it comes to directly knocking off an item and finding something creative that's not for sale anywhere else and using that item to you know, make some sales and to build some interest around the product. But no, don't come in and directly try to rip off Nike or Jordan shoes or, you know, something like that, because it's not going to work, and that is blatant infringement on something. All right, it's much different than just borrowing the likeness of a brand on a unique item. So I think I've said enough about that. I just wanted to put it out there. Again, form your own opinion on it, but form your own opinion. You know, don't let somebody else scare you into something. Don't let other people, you know, try to act like they know what's best or they know what's right. You know, just stay away from trying to directly, you know, blatantly rip something off, and come out of your own creativity and realize that if you are selling something that has likeness or is based off the idea of another brand, that it's a very short-term thing, and you only want to use that as a stepping stone to get to something better, okay? So that's my opinion on all of that. That's where I'm going to wrap this video up. Oh, wait, one last thing, actually. I'm going to share this as well. When it comes to niche and product research, another great thing to do is to look at other people's stores, okay? So this link right here that hold on, I didn't copy for some reason. My keyboard keeps dying. All right, this link right here is a way that you can browse the Shopify IP address, which will allow you to see, basically just by typing this link in, it's going to bring up all the top Shopify stores. All right, these are all stores that are on Shopify based off the Shopify IP. And, you know, some of them are going to be actual big brands that you've heard of and know that use Shopify. Some of them will be people that are just, you know, selling their own type of stuff. There's a whole mix in here of different things, and there's a lot. Like, you can go all the way to page 405. You see, and there's like, I think, 20,000 total records. So this is a great way. You can see Radio Shack's on here. This is a cool way where you can come in and just see, let's just pick one random example. You know, this is their website here, right? So you can come here and click, and it'll go to the website. And this is a great way to do research, all right, and see what other people are selling. Some people are going to have their own brands like this, which it looks like they're producing their own energy formula. And some people, if you go into, like, let's say if you go into, say, like the 100 range or so, you'll probably start finding some things that are more drop shipping. Actually, let's go even deeper than that. All right, so if we go into here, I don't know, let's just pick something. Right, and then you can come and just look these websites up and see what they're doing, right? And you can see and get ideas for stuff they're selling, right? So these are notebooks that these guys are selling, but you get the idea. This IP, I mean, you want to spend some time doing this. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to go through. I'm not saying go through all 20,000 listings, but you can go through here and get a lot of good ideas just by finding some random stuff and seeing what people are selling. So this video has been a complete overview of everything. I hope you got a lot of value from it, and, you know, start doing your research, start thinking of ideas. And then in the next video, we're going to get into building a store, picking a store name, setting your store up, starting to add some products and building collections and branding and using apps and all of that. So from here, you really want to start looking at ideas and things and start getting some ideas and products ready in your mind, writing them down, saving them in a notepad somewhere on Google Drive. And then in the next video, we're going to start looking at building a store. And remember, you know, in between the videos, there may not be a lot of time from one video to the other, you know, watching one and then watching the other. But for your time, you should definitely take some some hours, maybe a day or so, and just do some research and write ideas down and get ideas of niches and products that you think you're interested in before going into the building a store idea, because the building a store idea is going to start branching off of what we just talked about here. And so you should really start having a good sense of what you want to do. And then we're going to build on that in the next video. All right. As always, if you have any questions, comments, ideas, feel free to share. I will see you in the next video.